Welcome to the deep dive, everybody.
Hi.
Today, we're tackling something I know you're really interested in.
Okay.
How the media and tech we use are shaping, all the information we see.
Right.
We're diving deep today into this book proposal. It's called Ctrl Alt Deceive.
Okay.
And this book proposal, Ctrl Alt Deceive, Rebooting the Truth Behind the Headlines, has this really interesting question that it starts with.
Okay.
Who really controls the truth? We're going to be exploring that question in the context of all kinds of things like AI propaganda,
Right.
deep fakes, corporate media monopolies,
Uh-huh.
and how we as individuals can become more discerning consumers of information.
Yeah, this is
What do you think?
this is a topic that's more relevant now than ever,
Aye.
We just live in a world where information flows constantly, right?
Constantly.
And it can be really hard to sift through it all and figure out what's real and what's not.
Totally.
Yeah.
This book proposal actually starts by taking us back in time.
Okay.
It wants to look at how information control has existed throughout history. It makes you realize that this isn't like a new problem, right?
Right, yeah.
Like kings and religious leaders,
Uh-huh.
they used to censor knowledge, controlling what people could read, could think.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a world without the printing press?
It's fascinating to think about, the invention of the printing press really democratized information.
Right.
Suddenly, knowledge was more accessible, which of course challenged the control of those in power.
Totally.
But this, also paved the way for new forms of manipulation.
Totally.
Take the rise of the media titans, for example.
Yes.
Powerful individuals who shaped public opinion through their control of, newspapers, radio,
Yeah.
things like that.
The book proposal uses some, interesting historical examples like wartime propaganda
Uh-huh.
and McCarthyism to show how these figures used their influence.
Oh, yeah.
Think about wartime propaganda.
Yeah.
It was designed to sway public opinion
Right.
and rally support for the war effort.
What's interesting is that those same tactics are still being used today,
Mm-hmm.
just in more sophisticated ways.
Right. More subtle ways.
The methods of control may have evolved, but the underlying goal is the same.
Right.
To influence how we perceive the world.
And then came the internet.
Right.
The ultimate double-edged sword.
Totally.
It promised to be this incredible tool for sharing information and connecting people, right?
Yeah.
But it also opened the floodgates for misinformation.
Of course.
And then AI came along.
Uh-huh.
And it added this whole new layer of complexity.
Right.
Have you ever searched for something online and then you're bombarded with ads for that exact thing?
Oh, yeah. All the time.
That's AI at work, shaping your online experience.
Absolutely. That's algorithmic bias in action. These algorithms are often designed to keep us engaged.
Yeah.
But that can come at the cost of showing us a narrow, curated version of reality.
Totally.
Yeah. The book proposal dives deep into this,
Uh-huh.
discussing things like, filter bubbles,
Yeah.
search engine manipulation.
It's kind of unsettling when you realize how much of what we see online is being curated by these algorithms.
It is.
And then there's the issue of, algorithmic bias,
Right.
where these AI systems reflect the biases of their creators.
Of course, yeah.
So, for example, facial recognition software trained primarily on images of white faces might struggle to accurately identify people of color.
That's right.
Right.
And that raises some serious concerns about fairness and equity in the digital age.
Totally.
Yeah. This book proposal really forces us to ask, who controls these algorithms?
Right.
And whose interests are they serving?
It's like we're all playing a part in this digital puppet show.
Yeah.
But we don't even know who's holding the strings.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Makes you wonder, who's really calling the shots.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The book proposal kind of takes us into this world, then,
Okay.
of corporate media monopolies.
Mhm.
And it's pretty shocking stuff.
It's something a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah.
That a very small number of corporations actually control
Yeah.
most of the media that we consume.
So how many are we talking? Is it dozens? Is it hundreds?
You might be surprised to learn that it's just 6
Oh, wow.
corporations that own a majority of the media outlets out there.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It almost feels like we're being given this carefully curated illusion of choice.
Right.
We have all these different news sources.
Right.
We have ultimately controlled by the same few players.
That's exactly the point the book proposal is making.
Yeah.
And these corporate media giants
Yeah.
often prioritize profit over truth.
Right.
They have a vested interest in maintaining the status quo
Yeah.
and protecting their own power.
So how does that actually play out in the real world?
Yeah.
Can you give me a specific example?
Take the case of Cambridge Analytica.
Okay.
a company that harvested data from millions of Facebook users
Right.
and used it to target them with personalized political ads
Uh-huh.
during elections.
Yeah.
This was a major
I
scandal
remember hearing about that.
that showed how technology can be weaponized to manipulate voters.
Yeah, it was a huge wake-up call, I think, for a lot of
It
people about
was.
how our data can be used against us.
Exactly.
And what's even crazier is that AI is taking all of this to a whole new level.
AI is a powerful tool,
Yeah,
but like any tool, it can be used for good or for evil.
right.
And the book proposal goes deep on this,
Okay.
talking about things like deep fakes,
Oh, yeah.
which are videos that have been manipulated to make it look like someone is saying or doing something they never actually did.
Those are so creepy.
Right.
I saw one recently where they made it look like a politician was giving a speech
Oh, wow.
that was completely fabricated. Like, I knew it was fake,
Uh-huh.
but it was still unsettling to see how realistic it looked.
Imagine the implications of that.
Yeah,
Like our shared understanding of history could be completely distorted
right,
if people start using AI to create fake historical events
right.
or manipulate existing
It's
footage.
a real threat to
Yes.
our collective memory and understanding
Yeah,
of the
so it's-
world.
absolutely.
And the book proposal even suggests that AI could be used in investigative reporting to create misinformation,
Right,
not just detect it.
right.
It really is a double-edged sword.
It is.
I mean, on the one hand, it's amazing to think about how AI could be used to uncover hidden truths
Yeah.
and hold powerful people accountable.
Uh-huh.
But on the other hand, if it's used to create and spread lies,
Right.
the consequences could be devastating.
It's definitely a complex issue,
Yeah,
and it's one that we need to be talking about more.
totally.
The book proposal does a great job of laying out the potential risks and rewards.
Yeah, AI in the information age.
So in this world where anyone can post anything online
Right.
and information spreads like wildfire,
Yeah,
how do we know what to believe?
right.
It feels like we're constantly being bombarded with information. The book proposal calls this the overload epidemic.
Okay.
This feeling of being overwhelmed by the sheer volume of information
Yeah,
we're exposed to every day.
it's a lot.
It leads to fatigue,
Yeah.
distrust,
Hmm.
ultimately apathy.
Right.
People just give up
Yeah.
trying to figure out what's true
Yeah.
because it's all too much.
I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah.
There are days where I just want to unplug from the internet entirely
Right.
because it all just feels so overwhelming.
It is.
How are we supposed to make sense of it all?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right.
And it's not just about the amount of information.
Mhm.
It's also about the fact that even transparency can be manipulated.
Mm.
Think about whistleblowers.
Okay.
People who risk their careers to expose wrongdoing.
Right.
They're often celebrated as heroes,
Yeah.
but leaks can also be staged to distract or mislead.
So even when we think we're getting the inside scoop,
Right.
we could still be getting played.
Exactly.
That's pretty discouraging.
It can be.
Is there any hope for us
Yeah.
to reclaim our narrative in this crazy information landscape?
The book proposal doesn't leave us hanging.
Okay.
It actually offers some potential solutions,
Okay.
and some of them are pretty radical.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more. What kind of solutions are we talking about?
Well, one of the big ideas is decentralized journalism.
Okay.
Imagine a world where news is reported and verified
Uh-huh.
by a distributed network of individuals
Okay.
rather than a handful of powerful corporations.
So kind of like taking the power away from the gatekeepers and
Exactly.
putting it back in the hands of the people.
Right.
That sounds pretty revolutionary.
And the proposal explores how technology like blockchain could be used to create a more trustworthy information landscape.
Okay.
Think about how blockchain works.
Yeah.
It's this immutable record of transactions that can't be tampered with.
I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
If we could apply that same concept to journalism,
Right.
it would be much harder to spread false information or manipulate the facts.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
It's about building systems that are more resistant to manipulation and corruption.
Right.
And it's not just about technology. It's not just about empowering individuals to become more discerning consumers of information.
So it's about media literacy
Exactly.
and critical thinking skills.
Yes.
Being able to spot fake news.
Right.
Identify bias.
Evaluate source. Exactly. We need to become more like information detectives.
Okay.
Constantly questioning what we see and hear.
Right.
The proposal even suggests specific techniques for recognizing manipulation,
Uh-huh.
like understanding cognitive biases and logical fallacies.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here,
Right.
from the history of information control to the rise of AI
Yeah,
and the challenges of navigating this
yeah,
overwhelming information landscape.
right.
But what can we, like, as individuals,
Yeah,
actually do to be more savvy consumers of information?
right,
I mean, it can feel like we're up against
right.
some pretty powerful forces.
It's true that the forces at play can feel daunting.
Uh-huh.
The book proposal does offer some very practical tips
Okay.
that we can all use to be more discerning.
Okay.
And it all starts with understanding our own biases.
Okay.
You know, we're all susceptible to confirmation bias,
Yeah.
which means we had to gravitate toward information
Mm-hmm.
that confirms what we already believe, even if it's false.
Oh, I know. I'm guilty of that.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get sucked into those echo chambers online
Right.
where everyone is just reinforcing each other's opinions.
Right.
So how do we break out of that?
The proposal suggests actively seeking out diverse perspectives
Okay.
and challenging our own assumptions.
Okay.
It's about being intellectually curious and open-minded.
Right.
It can be uncomfortable to confront information
Yeah.
that challenges our beliefs,
Totally.
but it's crucial for developing a more nuanced and accurate understanding of the world.
That makes sense. It's like we need to train our brains to be more critical and less accepting of everything we see at face value.
Right.
Are there any other, like, specific tips that the book proposal offers?
Absolutely. It emphasizes the importance of cross-referencing information
Okay.
from multiple sources.
Right.
Don't just rely on one news outlet or website.
Okay.
Check out different perspectives
Uh-huh.
and look for evidence-based reporting
Right.
rather than opinion pieces or emotionally charged content.
It's like becoming an information detective.
Exactly.
Looking for clues, weighing the evidence.
Right.
Coming to our own conclusions.
Yeah. Are there any good resources you recommend
Hmm.
for finding trustworthy information?
Yeah, like where should we even start?
Well, the proposal mentions several fact-checking websites and independent journalism organizations.
Okay.
It also suggests looking for media outlets
Uh-huh.
that are transparent about their funding and editorial processes.
Okay.
And remember, just because something goes viral
Right.
doesn't mean it's true.
Yeah.
Be wary of sensational headlines and emotionally manipulative content.
It's easy to get swept up in the outrage
Right.
or excitement of a viral story,
Right.
but we need to pause and ask ourselves,
Yeah.
who benefits from me believing this?
Exactly. And keep in mind that truth is often nuanced and complex.
Right.
There are rarely simple answers or black and white solutions.
Yeah.
The world is full of gray areas.
Totally.
The proposal encourages us to engage in thoughtful, respectful dialogue
Uh-huh.
with people who hold different views,
Yeah.
even when we disagree.
It's tempting to just like shut down conversations
It
with
is.
people who disagree with us, but it's important to remember that everyone has their own experiences
Of course.
and perspectives
Yeah.
that have shaped their beliefs.
Exactly.
Like we can learn a lot from each other if we're willing to listen.
Absolutely. And remember, we're all part of this information ecosystem.
Yeah.
We have a responsibility to contribute
Right.
to a more truthful and trustworthy landscape.
It's empowering to know that we can make a difference.
It is.
It's not just about being passive consumers of information.
Right.
It's about being active participants
Yes.
in shaping the narrative.
The book proposal leaves us with a final thought-provoking question.
Okay.
Can we build a truly decentralized information ecosystem where truth prevails?
That's a question worth pondering.
It is.
This deep dive into Ctrl Alt Deceive has really opened my eyes to the complexities of the information landscape we're navigating.
Yeah.
It's clear that we need to be more vigilant, more discerning, and more engaged than ever before.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Remember to stay curious, stay critical, and keep questioning everything.